So coming into that comfortable seat, whatever it looks like for you. Maybe raising the hips up. Right, does anyone else need a belt? Okay. And you can choose to have the palms facing up or down. Just find whatever works for you. So today's class is going to be about balance, and balance is far more than just being able to stand on one leg. We're talking balance as the, yes, that will be part of it, standing on one leg, but balance between the inner and the outer, balance between your effort and surrender, so effortlessness in action, balance with the upper body, lower body, left side, right side. So just start to rock a little side to side like a metronome, and seeing as you pass from side to side, there's that moment where you're in perfect balance. And just start to make the movement slower and smaller. And eventually finding that beautiful vertical plumb line where the crown of the head is perfectly balanced over the perineum. And in this way, as you find the balance, sometimes it is a need to move out of balance to move into balance. So as you find this center, find this vertical line with elegance, with lightness, with a buoyancy, you can start to let the breath wash through the body. So sending the breath down into the belly, and maybe naturally it will move up as you lengthen your breath out, but always initiating the movement down first. So using your diaphragm to initiate the movement, not just pushing the belly out, but naturally the belly will distend forward in response to your diaphragm moving down to massage the organs. Feeling this balance now of the inhale and exhale. Do you notice that your inhale's a little bit longer than your exhale? That can be a common ailment in modern day life, almost symbolic of rushing to the next thing without finishing what you're doing, finishing where you're at. Maybe thinking about how many unfinished projects you have at home. Maybe not you, other people. So as you lengthen the breath out, making sure that you lengthen the exhale out, just so at least you have this balance. Balance is these two sides of the one coin, just becoming as even as possible. And then you can bring the hands into Namaste and really turning inside now as you awaken your intention. And remember, at the beginning of practice, we say our intention as a prayer or a wish. May I awaken strength, balance, and freedom in my body and in my life, or whatever it is for you. Feeling it, seeing it echo through the hollow body, settling into every cell, every fiber, as this prayer-filled wish. You can then bow the head forward and touch the thumbs to the third eye point. And then releasing the hands down, maybe come off your support if you're on it and come into diamond pose. So extending the legs forward, cupping the hands over the knees, and still with that same feeling of even inhale and exhale. Breathe down into the belly. Inhale, maybe all the way up to the chest, and then as you exhale, a slow, slow movement forward, brushing the hands down the legs. So we've got a 2-breath cycle here, inhaling and coming up, hands come to the knees, lift and open, and exhale, chin into the chest, and rounding through the back, rock back. So actually hang on your knees and round through the back. Good, so that's our 2 breaths. Get into the movement in your own time now, and thinking about that balance of front of the body, back of the body, balance of effort and surrender, that effortlessness into action. And feel as one part of the body or one side of the body opens, the other side is working. So as you're arching here, feel the back body working as the front body opens, and the opposite. So as you continue on, just let me mention, although we have this high and lofty goal of, I've got to find balance in my life, just take note from nature. So we, being part of nature, need to move like her. So in nature, we've got 365 days in the year, and only 2 of those days are in perfect equilibrium, perfect balance. So everything else is just this flux and flow, this dance and movement. The 2 equinoxes, March and September, where we have equal day and equal night. So even though we're striving for balance, we also need to be aware that it's just this dance. And maybe letting go of the idea of perfect balance is actually static and not realistic. So after you rock back for the last time, you can come back into center and bring the knees together, swing the legs around and come forward to a hands and knees position. So on hands and knees, splaying the fingers wide, connecting the index finger knuckle into the earth. And again, just this pulsation through the spine and through the pelvis, inhaling to send the chest forward, open through the front of the body, and exhaling to round through the back. And really scoop the tail under here and even engage the buttocks. Inhale. So as you inhale, really let go through the belly and work through the back muscles, remembering that balance, that reciprocal action that needs to happen in the body. One side is working, the other side is surrendering and letting go. And then come to a neutral position, tuck the toes towards you, and just hover the knees. So tone through the belly, inhale and open through the front of the body. So same cat's breath movement, but you'll find that it's more through the upper back, and that's okay. So hovering the knees just off the floor, have them as close to the floor as possible, and just notice if you've gone into excessive gripping, excessive activation, ones. Is there anything that you can relax? Maybe it's through the jaw. Good. All right, and then you can take the knees down onto the earth, point the toes away from you and sit back onto the heels. Inhale to sweep the arms up, bring the palms to touch, and exhaling the hands down through Namaste. If you can't sit like this, just go cross legs, that's fine. Does everyone have a belt? You can take your belt up overhead and yes, awesome. Okay, and then with your exhale, bringing the arms down behind you. So it's not so much about the leg position, it's more about the chest opening. And then inhaling and making your way up. And then that effort and surrender. So perhaps you need to soften through the jaw. Are you over gripping with your hands? Are you white knuckled through your hands? So as you come up, just walk in a few millimeters. And then exhaling down, and this time holding. So hands at shoulder height, just look over each shoulder and make sure the hands are level. And then look into the belly. You'll feel the front body opening, but actively draw the front ribs in. And then lift the head back to neutral and unclench the jaw, soften through the face. Wonderful, you've all got this Zen Buddha face going on. All right, then release and bring the arms down. Give the shoulders a roll, and a couple more times we'll just smoothly flow, inhaling and coming up. Noticing that opening on one side and perhaps any hindrances to that. Are you clenching and gripping? So separate the teeth and soften around the eyes and make the movement as smooth and flowing as you can. And then inhaling and coming up. You can pop the belt off to the side, thanking the belt. And press into the shins, inhale and rising all the way up. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale the hands down through center. Take the weight onto the left shin and bring the right leg forward. Then inhaling and reaching the arms up. As you exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back of the body. So balancing this effort and opening, we've got the opening through the front of the body, and then apply a little more effort through the back body. So maybe squeezing the palms towards each other and reach the knuckles back. And then lay the belly on the thigh and taking the arms up and over as best you can. And then inhaling and sweeping the arms up, bring the palms to touch overhead. Exhale the hands down through Namaste. Tuck the back toes towards you and challenging our balance a little bit here by just hovering the back knee. If that's too much, just keep the knee down, but if you can, just hover, and same movements, inhaling. So stay steady through that front foot, and even steady through the core can help you as well. Interlace behind the back of the body, inhale. And then exhale, lay the belly on the thigh if you can. And inhaling to rise up, sweep the arms forward and up, palms touch. And release and touch down. Recoil and step yourself forward. Lift halfway up as you lengthen. And make sure that you're folding from the hips as you fold in, maybe nodding the head, yes. And so from that effortful pose to a deep surrendering pose. So this is part of balance as well. We can't be in our time management, just be on all the time. We need to schedule time for resting and doing nothing as well. So bending the knees, and take a spinal roll to come up. Maybe I'll share one of my favorite doing nothing practices. It's actually staring at a blank wall. Very important. I do lots of things, but staring at a blank wall is important as well. Like doing nothing. Valuable. All right, bending the knees down and coming into your Utkatasana shape. Check that the knees aren't collapsing in and tracking them directly forward. And then feeling for balance, left and right side of the body. Noticing, is there a tendency to be stronger in one leg, or is one knee collapsing in? Just noticing that symmetry there. And then pressing through the feet and inhaling to reach up. Exhale back down into your chair pose shape. Stay down now and inhale, sweeping the arms up. Just check in for any over-efforting, and you can let that go, so that effort and surrender, perfectly balanced, right effort. Exhale the hands down. And last one, inhale the arms up. Turn this into a forward fold, so lay the belly on the thighs, and as you straighten the legs, all of that effort just dissolves. Inhale to lift halfway up. As you lift halfway up, think natural curves of the spine. Nice, which includes the neck as well. And have the knees slightly bent. And then bending into your legs, and we want to work the same leg. So step your left leg all the way back to the back of the mat. Take the left hand off the mat and dialing the fingers out so you can hopefully get that left head of the arm bone moving back, and inhale to open the right arm up to the sky. So balancing front and back of the body now. So there's always an awareness of the front of the body, but can you be aware of the back leg and brighten the back leg more? So lift through that left thigh. Maybe leaning back through the head and chest like you're leaning into a hammock. And then exhaling to release the hand down. Drop the back knee down onto the floor. And stretch back into an easy side plank. So kickstand that left foot out and into this side plank position. Yeah. So feel free to stay there, but if you're able to, hover the right leg and reach to catch hold of the top of the foot. So your left knee is on the floor. That'll make it easier. Then kicking the foot back and twisting the chest open to the sky. So again, we've got this balance front and back. So you're moving into that which you cannot see behind you to move towards this balance. And then release and extend the leg out and touch it down. Reach the right arm up and over and turn around back towards your hands and knees position. Come forward towards an easy plank. Lift through the belly. So full plank or half plank, your choice. And then lowering yourself slowly down onto the earth. Bring the hands back alongside the hips, palms facing down. And inhale to lift head, chest, and legs up into the air. So thinking about your feet being hip-width apart and parallel. And a little more height in this one, yeah. And then this one, yes. And imagine the basketballs under your hands and pressing down through the hands to draw the head of the arm bone back and up, so you'll feel your upper back active. Excellent. And then lowering yourself down. Tuck the hands under the shoulders, rise up just through hands and knees. And then let's press back into downward facing dog. And for a few rounds, don't move in, so you want a nice long dog, your dash hound length of dog. Good. All right, then inhale and come forward into your plank position. Scoop the tail and broaden through the collarbones. And then exhaling to press back into downward facing dog. And then inhaling and looking, actually just take the knees to the floor for a second. Let's do this rippling movement. So from down dog, look into the belly and get this rounding shape, and then hold the plank and then back into your downward facing. So you look in and round as you come forward, and that's how you can get the scoop of the tail happening strongly. So down dog. Look into the belly, cat tilt or posterior tilt through the pelvis. Yes, good. And then bend the knees, ribs to thighs, and moving back into your downward facing. And twice more like that. Rippling and rounding. So balance is not only standing on one leg, it's balance between fluidity or mobility and strength as well. Good. Okay. Next time you come forward, you can take the knees down onto the earth, keep the toes tucked towards you, and then let's sit back onto the heels. So if you're able to, staying like this, I've got long toes, so they're like little, the shopping trolleys with the wheel with the mind of its own, so I have to bring them in. Still not brushing my teeth with my toes just yet. And then sitting back and noticing again, how can you find balance here? So what might balance look like? It's not so much left or right, it's more this balance of surrender and effort, that's a little bit of effort that's required. But it's more this effort of lifting and buoyancy through the chest, which might make your weight a little lighter on the feet. It's a balance between this mindfulness as well as detachment. Some of you are looking at me like, how long are we going to hold this? Checking the over-efforting that might be happening through the jaw, the face. Maybe in the hands, subtle claws digging in. All right, so let's release out of that. Counter pose by coming onto the tops of the feet. So counter poses are a beautiful expression of that balance as well. So from the toes tucked under, we'll go to completely opposite shape and pointing the toes away, if that's okay for you. So lift the knees and round through the spine. Yeah, and press the tops of the feet into the floor. And then lowering yourself down. And press through the shins and inhale to come up. Exhale the hands down through center. And then leaning over to the right side and stepping the left foot forward. And working with your breath. Inhale to sweep up. Exhale to interlace behind the back of the body. Inhale. Again, finding that balance of inhale and exhale as well. And taking the arms up and over. That effort on the arms and the back body, and then inhaling and sweeping the arms up and exhaling the hands down. So same flow, but hovering the back knee. Tuck the toes and hover the knee. Excellent. So maybe a bit of a balance challenge. Sometimes being aware of core can help. So moving from center can also help you to balance. And feel all that wavering that's going on, particularly in the front foot. And wavering is part of balance as well. Inhaling and sweeping the arms up. Keep the back knee as low as it can be. And exhale the hands to the earth. Excellent. Inhale to step forward. And from that effort of attention, effort of balance, just go into completely staring at a blank wall. Nothing that you need to do. Let the head hang like a heavy bowling ball weight. Just letting it go. Maybe nodding the head yes a few times. Turning the head no, but meaning yes in yourself. And then come on up through your spinal roll. So one vertebrae at a time, stacking on top of each other and opening the arms out, palms touch overhead, and exhale down into Namaste. So balance, four corners of both feet steady on the earth. Balance through the whole of the body, from rather than tipping forward or back, just finding that central balance, central channel. That crown, from the crown of the head down to the space between the feet, this beautiful, elegant plumb line, finding that central axis and moving from there, inhaling and sweeping the arms up. As you exhale, come down through your chair pose position. So this time, inhale and lift the right leg up, finding that little bit of balance, and exhale as if you're moving through water, lowering down. Inhaling, left leg lifts, and exhaling down. And just once more to each side, finding that steadiness within the wavering. So remembering that only 2 days of the year are perfectly in balance. So stay down with both feet, inhale up. So the rest of the year, it's wavering. That's good news, isn't it? That's a sigh of relief. Fold all the way in. Inhale, lift halfway up and lengthen through the spine. And exhale the right leg back to the back of the mat. Take the right hand off the mat and then dial the fingers over to the side wall. Yep, so you're spinning the head of the arm bone back and then and moving the head of the shoulder back, then taking your left arm up to the sky. So just checking in that this, and maybe you could bend the right elbow a little and really get the head of the arm bone to move back and open through the chest. So as you open through the front body, you should feel like you're working your back body. You know, like those muscle men, and they're showing off their back muscles. You want to do that and really impress the person behind you. So just everyone go, ooh. Yeah. Suitably impressed. Nice. Okay, release the hand down. And then stepping yourself back and into downward facing dog. Let's do a few of those rippling movements. So look into the belly, round through the back of the body. Inhale forward into your plank, and then exhaling back into downward facing dog. Inhaling forward. So keep this. So you see how you lose it there? Tuck the tail, tuck, 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 tuck. Yes, all the way there. And next time you come to plank, you can then lower yourself down to your belly. And rise up either into Sphinx pose, or if you wanted to go for Cobra, you're more than welcome to. So again, let's think activation through the front body. So looking into the belly, actively press the tops of the feet into the floor and then sending the chest forward. You might be able to add in that little bit of clawing as you drag the hands back and the chest forward. Finding natural curves of the spine, perhaps through the neck as well. And then releasing, lowering down. Tuck the hands towards you and rising up into your full or a half plank, and then back into downward facing dog. Splay the fingers wide and connect the index finger deep into the earth. Inhale to reach the right leg up to the sky. And point the right toes down towards the floor, so keep the hips square. So yes. And imagine holding the ceiling up with that right heel, so against resistance. Then look at your left toes. Are they sagging off to the side? Hug them into the midline. Good. And then bringing the knee into the chest, coming forward, knee into the chest. Good. Inhale and stretch the leg up and back. Then exhale and step the foot through to the space between the hands. Inhale up into your Anjaneyasana, your crescent pose position. So inhale up and exhale, interlacing the fingers behind the back of the body. Inhale to lift and open. So you've got the back heel lifted, and exhale, lay the belly onto the thigh. Or some of you, depending on your balance, you might be able to come to the inside, moving your head down towards the inner ankle. Balancing that effort and surrender, as well as finding center, finding your balance. to come up, sweep the arms, reach the arms back, and inhale to take the arms up. Open the arms out into cactus arms and bring the right elbow on top of the left and entwining the arms. Then tip forward and launch yourself forward into Virabhadrasana 3. If you need the hands on the floor to balance, that's totally fine. Feel into your left hip and focus on that left hip turning down towards the floor. So a good way to do that is bend the right knee, then really drop the left hip down, then straighten the leg up. Excellent. All right, come all the way up, knee into the chest, and touch the foot over, touching the pinky toes together. Inhale to open the arms out and bring the hold on to the right wrist with the left hand and leaning over to the side. So even finding balance, you know how trees do, they sway even in different shapes, they're still balanced. And then coming back up, find your Garuda arms again, right elbow on top, and then coming into position, hooking the foot around. If you've got balance challenges, then maybe you want to hot potato that foot. Yeah. Then slide the leg across and come into this figure 4 shape. And if you're able to, going elbows down towards the outside of the leg, front of the shin. Yeah. Good work. All right, inhale and come on up, release the arms, lift the knee and moving back through your Virabhadrasana 3 just as a transition so you don't have to hold here and stepping all the way back. Drop the back knee down, we'll just release, so after all of that effort in the right leg, we'll just release it, rocking forward and back with your breath. Inhale forward. And as you do this, you might find that there's that rounding in the spine, and so you'd be better off to work with the block, just so that you can find that nice sharp fold in the right hip and the natural curves of the spine. Good work. All right, coming forward and straightening through the back leg. This time plant the left hand flat to the floor. Good. And opening the right arm up to the sky. So if you want an easier time of it, do what we did in the warm-up, which would be have the left knee on the floor. Otherwise, drop the left heel to the floor and step back into a side plank position. Good. If you're comfortable here, maybe you'd like to reach to catch hold of the top foot. So, and then kicking it back. That's it. And balance here is spinning the chest open to the sky. So balance is, wavering is part of balance as well. Excellent. Okay, bring the hand down onto the floor and coming through your plank, lowering yourself down onto your belly. Even more, Carrie. And rise up into your cobra. So hands are a little wider than shoulder width apart, anchored down through the tops of the feet as you inhale and lift. And as you come up, maybe you need to look into the belly to draw the front ribs in, to draw the navel in. But remember here, cobra, the hips are down, but the belly is up off the floor. And then think points of the shoulders wide. So taking the collarbones apart. And exhaling to lower down. Rise up through your full or a half push-up and move back into downward facing dog. So before we get to the second side, take the left leg up to the sky and bend the left knee into the chest. Then take the foot across and find that figure 4 shape. So figure 4 shape in your downward facing dog. That's it. Actively flex the left foot and press the knee away. So you're in down dog. Press back to down dog, yeah. Then walk the hands back and you'll be in that figure 4 shape that you were just in not that long ago. Yes. So the ankle to the knee as best you can. All right. Sinking the hips down. And if you're able to, as long as it's okay with your knees, coming all the way down and into this balance, you can then think, so this is a great one for an awareness of the back body. So rather than pitching forward, think lift up and leaning back while making the knees heavy. And if you're able to, hands into namaste and enjoying that wobble. Yes. So potentially the most infuriating balance pose known to yogis. All right, release and touch down. So you're in your standing forward fold at the back of the mat. It had to be done. Lift halfway up. It's so infuriating. I don't even know the Sanskrit for it. Like I'm on a boycott. Inhale and come all the way up. Reverse swan dive. Palms touch overhead and exhale the hands down through namaste. So transfer the weight over to this left leg and bring the right foot up for tree pose. Take the hands together in namaste. So tree pose is a great pose for just feeling the difference between like dumping into this left hip versus move the left hip in to that midline and you'll feel the left glute and glute medius activate. So just do that a few times if you can. So it's just kind of like you collapse. The technical term is splush. And then activate and you'll feel this left hip move in. So that's what you want to experience in standing balance poses. And in that way, you're looking after that iliofemoral joint. You can open the arms out and hold in a T in this open shape for a moment. And then releasing down, go hands into namaste, and we'll go straight to the other side. So placing the foot to the inner thigh. And with the hands in namaste, you can do that splush and then draw everything in. Actively press the foot to the inner thigh. So I'm terribly sorry, there's just no such thing as slippery yoga pants. So the bearer of bad news today, I'm sorry about that. So you need to simply press your left foot into the inner right thigh some more as you, think of this as namaste, left and right meeting and pressing onto each other and lifting from there. Then you can take the arms up and opening out. Your gaze is also vitally important, and rather than looking down, maybe take on that more optimistic viewpoint, looking up towards the ceiling wall join above you. And yes, if you need to, maybe you look like you were having that moment, so I took it for you. You can release and touch down. Harps and angels and all of that. It is Sunday. Inhale to sweep the arms up and exhaling down. Okay, so from here, let's inhale the left knee up and cross it over again into your figure 4 shape and sinking down, but not all the way this time. Plant the hands onto the earth and walk the hands forward. Stay in your downward dog shape. Good. So you've got the option here of, we're going to flip it over into side plank facing the veranda, facing the left side. So come forward into your plank and then flip over and either have the foot in front of you here, or you could have it in this tree pose shape here. Good. And then exhaling the hand down, and keep the leg like that if you can, that tree pose position, and let your left knee touch last as you come down onto your belly. I don't actually know if that's possible, but you seemed like a likely bunch. Okay, you can take your left foot off to the left, so you've got the shin running parallel to the long edge of the mat, and you're in Sphinx pose with the elbows under the shoulders. So keep a little bit of tone through the front body, and then start to look over the right shoulder, and maybe it's inhaling to one side and exhaling to the other. But even in this asymmetry, can you find balance? So is there a balance in the breath, a balance in the movement of the spine, a balance in that effortlessness in action? And then from here you can stretch the right arm forward, stretch the left leg back and catch hold of the top of the foot. Rise up into a Dhanurasana, half bow pose. And again, if you wanted to lift the arm and leg, but an asymmetrical position, try and find symmetry. Make it as balanced and symmetrical as you can. Then releasing and lowering down. Pillow the hands and rest the forehead onto the hands, and just pausing there for a moment, a balance of effort and complete surrender, softness. Notice your inhale and exhale, and can you bring more balance here? Maybe balance is simply an awareness rather than needing it to be perfectly like a balanced set of scales. And then from here you can touch the hands under the shoulders and rise up through your full or a half push-up and press back into downward facing dog. Nice. A balance here of front and back of the body. Both sides lengthening, sit bones reaching up towards the sky. You can take the left leg now up to the sky, and with your exhale, bring the knee into the chest, coming in. Inhale to send the leg up. Just pause there for a moment, squaring the hips around, imagining holding the ceiling up with your heel. Press into me, press, press, press. Yes. And you may need to draw that right heel into the midline. Just need to do your other left leg. And then exhale the foot forward to the space between the hands. Good. Inhaling and taking the arms up. As you exhale, interlace behind the back of the body. Inhale to lift and open. And as you exhale, fold forward. So all of this might be challenging your balance. If you're able to, you can fold the head to the inside of the leg. But just check if you've come out of balance by your left booty poking out. Try and draw that in to the midline and send it back towards the back of the room. And then from here you can inhale and lift, reaching the arms up. Come out into your cactus arms position and then go left elbow on top and entwining. Inhale to lift the elbows high Exhale, tip forward, one long line between crown and back heel, and transferring forward, noticing how that right hip wants to lift. Drop it way, way down, maybe bending the left knee in order to accomplish that. And you can add in that feeling of needing to hold the ceiling up with your right heel. And then make a footprint on the wall behind you with your right heel. Excellent, so much more energy. Nice, all right, you can then inhale and come on up. Touch the knee into the chest and then touch the pinky toes together. Release the arms just for a moment and catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand and then leaning over. And again, even in this asymmetry, can you find balance? Maybe it's balance front and back of the body. Maybe it's balance as in steady through the feet. And then coming on up, left elbow crosses over again and coming into your Garudasana. If you've got balance challenges, remember that hot potato with the right toes could help. And are you hardening anywhere? Is there some way that you can bring greater softness, maybe around the eyes or the jaw? Excellent. And then inhaling and lifting, sweeping back through your Virabhadrasana 3, which is just a transition. So stepping all the way back. Drop the back knee down. And then we'll rock forward and back. Nice work. So that's compassionate sequencing as well. If we've done a lot on one leg, then the balance is going to stretch it out, or the counter pose. So from here, straighten the back leg and plant the right hand ready for load bearing. So we're going to be stepping back into side plank and perhaps catching the top foot. So take the left arm up and then either just stepping back into your side plank or catching hold of the top foot and finding almost like a Natarajasana, dancer position. Kick the foot back and maybe challenge your balance by looking up if that's available. Yes, good. And then release and touch the hand down. Spin yourself over through plank and lowering down onto your belly. So you could take a pause here, pillow the hands, or if you'd like to, catch hold of the feet and rise up into Dhanurasana, your bow pose. So only you know what balance means for you. If it's you need to rest or you want to be active. Yeah. And then coming down, release the hands either side of the chest and rise up through your plank position and move back into downward facing dog. So we now take the right leg and lift it up to the sky. And then tiger curl, knee into the chest, but this time crossing the foot over. Oh, bother, we didn't get to that on the other side. That's okay. Just down dog now and focusing on, so stay there. You've got your figure 4 shape with the right knee coming across, yes. And then walking the hands back. It would have made this movement marginally easier if we'd already done it. But you guys are such aces, no problem. But we will stay a little longer here, sinking the hips down. You could go hands onto the earth, do be heavy through that right knee. Then if you're able to, so this can be problematic for the knees as well, so coming down. Ooh, ooh, ah. So remember, your balance here is surprisingly further back. So imagine having the wall behind you for support and making the knees heavier. And even if it's just a quick little clap. So obviously don't do this if it bothers your knees. All right, and remembering it's in the wavering that we find balance. So, and in the falling, you know, it's from falling that we find balance as well. So come through your Uttanasana and just let it all go, draining down through the head and the neck, draining through the arms. Maybe take this little bit of a side-to-side movement, like the willow tree branches brushing on the earth. And then come on up through your spinal roll. You might like to bring your belt with you if you've chosen to do that. So you can hold on, pop the belt to the inside of your, or the sole of your right foot, and then bring left hand onto the hip. Or you're holding the big toe on the inside, yeah. So notice already if there's any splush and draw it in and think up. Then sending the right leg forward. So in tree pose, our right hip was actually higher, and that's okay. You want a bit of this angle so that you're working around the hip joint and stabilizing there. Opening the arm out to the side, you can then take the leg to the side. And finding balance here. Maybe there needs to be this little shift in your balance, your center. Come back through the midline, taking hold of the belt with or your foot with your left hand, and send the right arm up. And then dial it back behind you. And finding that balance, maybe challenging your balance if you wanted to look back. Is there anything that you're holding on to that doesn't need to be active right now? Yeah. All right, then releasing. So wavering, part of balance. Falling, part of balance. Falling just means that your brain hasn't quite figured out the center of balance. And then you can have good days and bad days, which is the same in life as well. So no problem. Second side. See how it goes. Don't just write yourself off, oh, I'm having a bad day. Because it might just be on one side. You might be having a bad day just in one area of your life, not the whole thing. Don't just write it all off. So rather than that right hip sticking out, draw it in, and as a result your left hip might be lifted, but you can move the outer thigh down towards the floor. Then taking the leg out to the side, maybe balancing with your arm, maybe you don't need to. Maybe you could tickle the person's foot next to you, really get them to work on their balance. And then coming back into center. And you can absolutely marvel at all the tiny little movements that are going on in your right foot, and that's a good thing. Our feet are these all-terrain vehicles, really love being put through their paces. Then coming back in, and you can pop the leg down, and maybe we'll have a belt burning ceremony later. With great compassion and great love. Throw it all on the fire. Swaha. All right. Close your eyes for a moment. Just find a position for you. Maybe Tadasana with the palms facing forward, or Namaste. Just scanning through the body. The hemispheres of balance, left and right, front and back, upper and lower. And even in the brain, we're wired to have these left and right hemispheres of the brain, and each of them have a unique quality that they bring to us. One side's not better than the other, they're both needed. And we have times in our life when we're doing the accounting that we really need our left brain. And there's times in our life when we're being supremely creative and artistic, and we need the right side of our brain. So one is not better than the other. They're just it's this constant dance. And the brain does oscillate every 90 minutes, it's thought, between left and right hemispheres of the brain dominance. So this dance shows up everywhere. You can bring the hands together and actually look at your hands. Press the hands onto each other, left and right side meeting, joining. And then inhaling and sweeping the arms out and up. Exhale down through your chair pose position. And then inhaling, lifting the right leg up and crossing it over, coming down into your chair or standing pigeon position. You can then plant the hands to the floor and walk out into your downward facing dog. And just get your head around where we're going next, which is flipping over into a side plank on your left hand. And then you've got the tree pose position option, or you're just touching the foot onto the floor in front of you. So the easier option is like this, or you're in the tree pose type position. And then taking the hand down, and the right knee touches last, if you're able. Yes, and then collapse in a heap pose. Wonderful, wonderful work. So then rearrange the foot out, and you've got this two 90-degree angles, a zigzag. That's actually another wonderful concept. The zig and the zag. That is the balance, yeah? So looking over the left shoulder and then over the right, and finding a breath that works for you. And again, in this asymmetry, can you find balance? I think that's the key teaching in balance. It's not about perfect symmetry, but rather in the asymmetry, how can you find balance? And then coming through center, and send the left arm out, reach the right hand back to catch hold of the foot, and then rising up, either staying with the left hand down as a half plank, a half bow, or lifting up. Kick the foot back and find symmetry once again within the asymmetry. Find the symmetry. And how you do that is going to be up to you. All right, then releasing down, and touch the hands under the shoulders. Rise up through your full or a half push up and back into downward facing dog. So this could be where your block at the back of the mat comes in handy. So inhale your right leg up to the sky. And bend this time open the pelvis out. Actually, just keep the legs straight for a moment. And again, like you're making a footprint on the wall behind you, open the pelvis, yet it comes from the waist. So the upper body is super steady. That left arm is firm, left armpit is lifted. Bend the knee, heel to the buttock, yep. And then walk the hands back, and you'll find yourself, hopefully, in an Ardha Chandrasana position. So you've got the weight on the left foot mainly. You could have the block underneath your right hand. Underneath your left hand. And then reach the right hand up to catch hold of the foot. And then kicking the foot back and twisting the chest open. So we've done this a number of shapes today. You should be certainly ready for it. And if you can't catch the foot, no problem. And then release the foot without any slingshot and take the right hand down. Walk out into your downward facing dog again with the leg lifted, and then bring the knee into the chest and come out into your pigeon pose. So, yes. The balance. Complete softness. So yes, some poses, they require a little more effort. This one, we're looking at total surrender, total surrender. Maybe take your elbows out a little wider. Yes, oh, look at that, beautiful. But maybe here there's still an element of balance in your breath, the inhale and the exhale. Yes, we've balanced the effort from before into total surrender. So it is Sunday morning, maybe you could do the pancake variation. Sunday morning pancakes, just like batter poured into a pan, and you can just let that go. Just relax your head down. You could even go onto the block here if you want. Remember, if you have any knee issues, you want to do the threading the needle pose instead. Maybe just rest your head down onto something. Just maybe even move the elbows out, and then melt down, head down. Yes. Find space between the teeth. And just give it 2 more breaths with your full and undivided attention. And making your way up, slide the hands underneath the shoulders and bring yourself up. Just lean into that right hip and come around into your Ardha Matsyendrasana. So if you can't cross the leg over, just foot to the inside of the shin. Start to look over the left shoulder and then lift the left hip and turn the left hip into the twist. Bring the left hand onto the floor behind you, and either right arm, forearm hugs the knee in, or you could go upper arm to the outside and then twisting yourself around. So again, in this asymmetry, can you find a sense of balance? Maybe it's the balance of lifting through the spine while the legs are heavy, like the granite base of a marble or a marble statue. That would be a marble base of a marble statue, would make more sense. And then you can inhale and look forward. We'll come into Gomukhasana now, so crossing the legs all the way over. If you've had enough in the hips, just go into diamond pose or crossed legs. But if you would like to, folding yourself forward and bowing the head in. So this moment to, again, find softness. So if you're in Gomukhasana and it's a battle, then that's defeating the purpose. You're better off to come into diamond pose. Breath by breath, soften and melt. Balance here, you might find that you've got more weight on the right hip. Can you sink the left hip down a little more? And now unraveling, drawing yourself up, and just come into a simple crossed legs position. Or stay in your diamond pose. Again, let's take this little bit of rocking side to side with eyes closed, and feel that central channel that you're passing through. It's almost like this sweet spot that your body wants to come back to. So gradually reducing the movement down like a grandfather clock that's slowing down, and then finding stillness, that pendulum base, elegant spine, balance front and back, left and right, inner and outer. And then rocking forward to your hands and knees and press back into downward facing dog. If you're desperate to take a connecting vinyasa, you're welcome to do that. So that's moving through your plank, through chaturanga, which is shoulders only at elbow height, and then into your upward dog where the upper arms are vertical, and into downward facing dog and meeting us there. So you can then inhale your left leg to the sky and balance here through the upper body. So you might need extra firming through the right forearm. Draw the right forearm in to the midline. Open the pelvis up, yep, and then heel to the buttock. So thinking, even though the lower body is opening, you're firm and stable through the upper body. So your right armpit stays lifted. And then walking the hands back and using your block if you need to. You're coming into this Ardha Chandrasana shape. So you'll have the block underneath the right hand and maybe reaching back to catch hold of the left foot, left hand. And finding your balance there, even within the wavering. Kicking the foot back, twisting the chest open, and maybe balancing with no hands, perhaps. Jacqueline, just walk the hand back so it's all your weight's on your foot, really. That's it. All right, then release without a slingshot, and or not next time. You can touch the hand down, walk out into your downward facing dog, bring the knee into the chest and knee to the left wrist and settle into your pigeon, which should take no coaxing, which is good. And again, taking that pancake variation. where the jaw is completely soft. You become like a puddle on the earth. Every breath, another gateway opens and you can soften in further. Maybe move your elbows out a little, just your elbows. Yep, even more. Even more, so you can really let go through here. Awesome. Feel the softness of the rise and fall of the belly on your calf. Give it one last moment here. And then rising up. Lean into that left hip and bring the right leg around. So we're in this Ardha Matsyendrasana. Could be foot to the inside if you wanted to. Right hand onto the floor behind you, choosing the position for your left arm. And then thinking about actually moving the pelvis, so the right hip lifts and moves into the twist, and that's going to stabilize your sacroiliac joint and then really focus on more twist through the thoracic spine. So then thinking balance as in maybe it's weight through both sit bones evenly. Perhaps it's the length through the side waist evenly. Ear canals level. And remember that elegance through the spine. So notice if your head is pitching forward, maybe moving the head back so that it's, if you had a wall behind you, you'd be touching your head towards the back wall. You've got this vertical central channel, but you're simply twisting on that axis in a balanced and harmonious way. You can then turn the head to look forward and release, either coming out into your diamond pose, or we're going into another hip opener if you're Gomukhasana. Ideally, the knees are stacked on top of each other and folding forward. So if you've got very open hips, you could actually work to take the feet out. So that's very open hips and no knee problems. It can be quite strong on the knees. So find your place here. It's this complete surrender again. So the thing is with the habituated holding is that we don't necessarily notice that it's there, because it's our constant friend. It's always there. So really just as if looking from the outside, is there any tension in the neck or shoulders? Could I drop my shoulders down some more? Perhaps it's just letting the head hang, or even supporting the head. So you could use your hand to support the head or a block. Perhaps it's the gripping or steering in the hands, desperately trying to subtly control. And give it just 2 more moments here. The wonderful thing about a moment is that it can drag or it can fly by. Another thing of balance. You can then make your way up and stretching the legs out. Take both legs out and apart, maybe as wide as the mat or a little bit wider than hip width apart. And then let your hands do all the work and let your legs just be floppy. And use your hands to rock the legs. It is so weird, isn't it? The concentration on your faces is priceless. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so from here, take the hands onto the earth behind you and coming to lie down onto your back. Again, cut your body into segments and just notice the harmony, the balance that you've created just from this awareness. The front of the body, the back of the body. The left and right sides of the body. The upper body, the lower body. The left and right sides of the brain. The inhale, the exhale. And if you are ready to move straight into Shavasana, then go for it. If you wanted to do anything else before Shavasana, you're welcome to do that. Maybe it's a spinal twist. Perhaps you need a bolster under the knees, or the eye pillow on. Even the natural curves of the spine, the net result is one of perfect balance. Actually, if it's not too much hassle, just if you wanted to, you could lift your head and just look down your body and see if you're in balance. Is your left leg out more, or do you need to rearrange in some way? And then come back down, head, neck perfectly aligned. Although, as we've discovered, balance doesn't mean perfect symmetry all the time. Balance can be a mindset or an awareness. Feel the whole of the body, the back of the body, in contact with the floor. So all the parts of the back of the body that are in contact with the floor, the back of the head, the shoulders and arms. Notice the parts of the back that are touching the floor, the buttocks, the parts of the legs that are touching the floor, the heels, the whole of the back of the body that is in contact with the floor. And then become aware of the touch of the lips on one another, the upper and lower lips. The touch of the lips on one another. It's not the upper lip or the lower lip, but the place where the two touch. The back of the body. All those points of contact. It's not your body, it's not the floor, it's the places of contact. The touch of the lips. And then the eyelids, so where the upper and lower eyelids meet. It's not the upper lid, not the lower lid, but the place where they both meet. The touch of the lips. The whole of the back of the body. Moving in that balance between doing and being. Let any focused awareness go now. Drop into this space of pure being. Nothing need be done. Timeless experience, a supreme openness, but more than anything, a sublime connection to all that is, like the drop of water that melts into the ocean and instantly becomes the entire ocean. noise and silence, action and inaction, doing and being. Recognize the supreme dance of these opposing energies. Not that one is right and one is wrong, but rather just this dance, a tango. Yet recognize the grand container that they're all held in, which is your awareness. Coming from this universal consciousness that includes and contains all things. From the vast expanse to this one single drop in the ocean. Become aware of your body lying on the earth. Not separate, but including and containing all things, like one tapestry thread on the vast tapestry of the universe. Your beautiful, unique energy contributes to and creates the entire picture. So gradually start to awaken your body by perhaps lengthening the breath and moving as you see fit. Maybe it's a wiggling of fingers and toes. Perhaps drawing into a little ball or stretching long. And in your own time, rolling to the side. And peeling yourself up off the floor, coming on up to a seated position. And so from this place of oneness, of connection, the Buddhists believe that if just one being on the planet is suffering, then we are all suffering. So it's why we finish our practice with the Loka Samasta, sending our blessings out, realizing how insanely lucky we are to live where we live, to have the beauty in our environment and the bounty in our lives, and that we can share our blessings out across the planet, the peace in our community that we experience. May all beings across all realms know this same peacefulness. Please join me with the Loka Samasta. Take a long inhale. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sushantir Bhavantu Sushantir Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for your practice. Namaste.